Welcome to my new channel, Chillin' with Ray K. Today I sat down with competitive skydiver and tunnel flyer and a great friend of mine, Mr. Mike Sopko. Enjoy. What's up?
What's up, Ray?
What's up? Hey, everybody. It's Ray Kubiak here. My guest today is Mike Sopko. Known you for how long? How long have we been hanging?
5 years now.
5 years. Wow. And I don't know anything about the guy. You know? No, I'm just kidding. Super interesting guy. His approach to our sport has been the sport of tunnel flying and the sport of skydiving is inspirational, to say the least. I wanted to sit down and have you as my first guest. I thank you for doing that. And let's get right into this. So go ahead and let's hear a little bit about you. I'm curious where you came from. I actually have no idea where you were born or like what what life was before.
Yeah. So actually, family's from New Jersey, and most people hear that, they think, Jersey City, Trenton, Camden. I'm actually from a rare place called Clean Jersey.
Clean.
Clean Jersey.
Yeah, not dirty Jersey.
No abs. Up in,
No,
up
not
in
so much
Clean.
hair gel, It's not like Jersey Shore. It's like northwestern New Jersey, right on the Delaware River, border of Pennsylvania, kind of foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. It's a pretty place. It's
Yeah.
nice.
All right. So you had woods.
Yeah,
like
woods. I grew up, riding my bike and digging dirt jumps in the backyard and
Heck yeah.
getting into trouble.
Busting chins.
Yep.
Yeah. You got any what is the sketchiest childhood? When did you realize that you were probably into adrenaline?
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like at what
yeah.
point, like, was there a moment when you were a kid where you're like, what the fuck am I doing right now? Like,
yeah. Well, I tried to jump off the roof with my snowboard at one point. I went off the roof! Woo! And I did end up getting talked out of it, but not before I had a ladder and a shovel up to the roof, getting ready to make a run in. Now, mind you, this isn't like, a single story roof. We kind of lived on the side of a hill.
right.
So,
Okay.
so the edge that I was going to jump off of was 2 stories high, and the landing, there was a nice place to land, but like vertically, you had about 3 feet to actually hit the slope. And
Right.
I probably would have overshot and landed in the flat 30 feet down and broken everything.
But we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, I should have tried
Who talked
it.
you out of that?
My dad.
Are you fucking stupid?
What a selfish. No, I'm joking. What a selfish move, Dad.
Could have been Sean White.
Could have been epic.
Could have been in a wheelchair. I don't know.
So, you have a pretty, adventurous childhood. It sounds like,
Yeah.
self-starter, having to build your own ramps,
Yep.
and then you get out of high school. Do you go right into military from
Yes.
high school?
Yeah, I went straight into the Marines after I graduated.
What was the driver there? Were you
Uh,
broke and wanting to go to college, or
no, definitely didn't want to go to college. I was not the best student in high school. I was kind of bored with it. Did not get very good grades. But I figured wanted to do some military service. Even grew up with clothes on my back and a roof over my head and food in my belly, and wanted to kind of give back somehow. And it's kind of an idealistic view, but it got me in the door, and I kind of like the discipline and the focus, and yeah, that's what started it.
Yeah, because you're an odd duck. In my world, you're an odd duck. I've hired lots of people, and the amount of discipline you have is it's kind of real crazy. You're like kind of crazy. Like it's really focused. Like
Yeah,
you're,
it might
really,
stem from kind of an addictive personality.
Yeah, you're
but-
really focused. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that. Was it the so you joined the Marines,
Yep.
the Marine branch? Was it the commercial that did it for you?
Oh, for sure.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
commercial?
the guy
fire,
climbing the mountain,
dragons.
dragon, sword, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, I think I saw it when I was like 7 years old
Same,
for the first
badass.
time. But I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And then, so there was another moment that was pretty funny when, I think it was early teenager, and I saw the movie G.I. Jane. You ever seen that movie?
I think I have seen that movie, but I haven't seen that movie more than maybe one time.
Okay. Yeah. So a female in the Navy like goes through SEAL training, and and in the movie she's a total badass. And I knew my mom had been in the Navy, but I had no idea what she did. I was so young, I didn't know that there were different jobs in the military.
You didn't know that movie was made
I
after
was
your
like,
mom.
yeah, I remember coming upstairs after I watched that movie, and I said, "Mom, were you G.I. Renee?" And she was like, "No, Michael, I didn't. That's not the stuff that I did in the military. But thank you for thinking that."
Right. That's funny.
Yeah,
So, how long were you a Marine?
10 years.
10 years. Damn, I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, time flies. It feels
We
like
had
it's just a blink.
We had an interesting conversation a few years back. Probably, it was after the new of the job wore off,
Mm-hmm.
and you started to realize that we could, not just as this company, I Fly Virginia Beach, or this wind tunnel, but us as an industry. Now that you were on this side of the curtain, you were a little disappointed, and you said that you felt the same way at times when you were in the, you joined the military, thinking it was like this elite. Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah, I do.
You want to get into that a little bit?
Yeah, so I remember kind of just starting with the military side, getting into it, and all kinds of different people get into the military.
Sure.
And I kind of went in thinking that almost like I'm going to be like an underdog. I'm a scrawny guy. I've always been a scrawny guy, And so I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to fight tooth and nail to like have my place there and be around a bunch of, tough dudes and everything. And realizing that all kinds of people go into the military that maybe shouldn't be there, or they, they're in it for certain reasons. And yeah, then you work with people that, you took the step to sign the papers, but you really don't care about your job. You don't care about the people around you. You slack off all the time, and that's just not me. And yeah, so that's when I took selection and went to the special operations side of the military.
Did you see less of that on that side?
For sure.
Yeah.
It still exists everywhere you go. Like in the military, there's a lot of like inter-service rivalries you hear about.
Sure.
But honestly, like I've seen dudes of all services, all branches, and all jobs that are awesome at what they do and really care, and are terrible at what they do and probably should find something different.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, it's the same everywhere, right?
judge the person, not the position, or
Right. Yeah, the guys that do more than they're supposed to do compared to the guys that just doing what they're doing. Like,
Yeah.
They do what they're supposed to do. Then there's the guys that do more than they're supposed to. Oh, and for the record, guys can be girls too. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm speaking of people in general when I say guys. So cool. Now that we got that HR out of the way, so then you started working in the industry, and you started finding out that hey, maybe there's not as much effort being put into this as there could be.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that was kind
Is
of
that a fair way to say it?
That's fair. I came at this super hungry You know, I'd been jumping and flying in tunnels for 5 years before I came over to this side. And, you know, in my head, I'm joining this like elite crew of people that are all like pushing the sport of skydiving and flying ahead. And, you know, they're passionate about it and they love it. And that's not always the case. And to each their own, like, but that kind of made me realize, like, if I want to see that, I'm going to have to build it.
Right.
You know, I'm going to have to be that for myself. And if I do a good enough job, then I can maybe attract people of similar mindset.
I think what my advice was for you back then, if I had some, because I've had this conversation. It wasn't exactly like the conversations that we've had, you know. 'Cause I feel like we get in the weeds sometimes.
Yeah.
We nerd out.
Oh yeah.
We geek out
Yeah.
on stuff, and we don't always agree, but we agree to disagree sometimes. I probably would have said something along the lines of, I know I've said this in the past, like, you as a student, right? That pool of new is bigger than the pool of experience, right? I know that maybe didn't sound all that. There are more people out there that don't have 10,000 hours of tunnel time and 10,000 skydives than there are that do.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're starting off that first 5 years and you're doing the thing, it's like, yeah, we're gonna go do that elite and blah blah blah. But then you get to 5 years. That's a significant amount of time to learn something. And then I probably would have been like, yeah, you're the guy that teaches now, or something along those lines. Like you get to the higher levels, the development. I call it the 0 to 60 coach, which is the people that are working in that pool that I'm talking about of new. And that's where I specialize in primarily, right? And then 60 to 120, that's the specialist. And I think you wear both hats. I think you can start, I think you're a 0 to 120 coach where you can start off, but you're also a specialist, right? Whereas like if I want to shave a 1/10 of a second off of my dynamic lines, you can help me with that. I know who can't help me with that. Me. Right? Like that's
You like the funk, man.
I like the funk.
You're a trick
I
flyer,
like,
right?
it is
and
what
that's
it is.
cool. That's,
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I right now I just like not getting in the way of progress. You know, let people progress and have their. So outside of flying, what are your special talents? What you got?
The special talents outside of flying.
I found out the other day you can slackline. It's like
The slack line a little bit, yeah. I feel like I enjoy that. I think it really helps with head up flying.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of core stability, balance. I mean, every time we fly, we're balancing.
yeah.
And it's kind of it's personal, too. Because you know what? Slacklining doesn't look that cool.
It's like the unicycling of extreme sport. Like
Yeah, it's like
unicycling is hard to look cool.
Yeah. There's the dudes that do tricks, and it's pretty rad and engaging to watch. I'm more kind of just like balance and focus on my stability, how quiet and calm can I be, and so it's kind of like a little meditation, but nothing I do looks cool. It's not for the purpose of, you know, showing off or anything. It's literally just I treat it kind of like a workout. You know, I just get on there. It's me against my own head, just finding more balance and more stability, and it kind of, I don't know, it takes you away a little bit to kind of this different place where you can just shut everything out and just balance.
You know, I think one of my favorite spots to be is in the right, like flow state's obviously the best, right? But I think that there is, for me, I've spent most of my career in like a flow state, but when you want to repeat, sometimes it's hard to repeat flow state because you can't fake a flow state, you know?
Yeah, moments
So it's
like that.
Like now as an older flyer, you know, 47 now, I like repetition a little bit more. I like to be able to repeat what I'm doing a little bit more than the one and done.
Yeah.
But I still got the one and done in me because every once in a while I just kind of get a little funky.
Yeah.
because, yeah, the other stuff, I'm too old. I'm too old to follow it. It's like, when I say I'm too old to follow, I'm just like the stuff I love about flying is not that, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, whatever. That is interesting. You play the guitar too, though.
Play the guitar, yep.
Yeah.
Love music. That's my rainy day activity.
Yeah, nice,
Yep.
nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you compose some music for your own videos.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Might have you compose me a little riff for this podcast. You like it? You know, we still don't have a name for this podcast. I tried a couple, and when I looked them up, no bueno.
No bueno.
They're like already a thing.
Mm.
Which makes me think that, man, maybe I don't need to be doing a podcast because like everybody, like the one I was looking at, Head Over Heels. It's a I think her name was Mary Wang. She was her podcast focuses on the life of an Asian woman, like, or the struggles that maybe Asian women have, you know, and it's a support group and a place to, like, she's got 111 episodes or 120 episodes or something. So I was like, dang it, I like that name, Head Over Heels, for a podcast. Then the other one was Tunnel Vision, that was taken.
Yeah.
By dudes that don't even fly in tunnels.
Oh.
And then Tunnel Talk was taken.
What about just Ray's? Like, Ray's sounds like a diner that you go hang out with good friends.
What about Ray's Diner?
Ray's Diner.
Yeah.
I would listen to that.
Welcome to Ray's Diner.
Welcome to Ray's Diner.
Yeah. Oh, we'll figure it out. We'll have to figure it out before I post any of this shit. So
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So, did you start skydiving in the military?
I did, but I got my civilian license first.
Gotcha.
So I was kind of like waiting to go to free fall school and got delayed. And
you were Special Forces at that time.
yeah. So at that time, I'd gone through selection. I was in MARSOC at the time, and so I was, had a free fall spot coming, but it just wasn't there yet. Wasn't the right time. And I saw dudes on the weekend like jumping because they got their license after they went to school.
They don't give you no shit. Like they're you know what I mean? You're at that point you're becoming a real asset. They're dumping a bunch of training into you. The military doesn't give you any blowback to be like, yo, maybe don't be fucking around like that.
Yeah,
Or you just not talk about it.
Ask for forgiveness kind of thing. I fell down the stairs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally understand what you're saying. That's funny. So that you start doing that. When did you get serious about skydiving?
I would say I got serious when I actually went through that school. So that school was out in Coolidge, Arizona. It was 20 minutes from Eloy.
Right.
And I knew the tunnel was there. I hadn't been to a tunnel yet.
Right.
And so I saved up a bunch of cash going to that school. Already had like 250 jumps, had my own gear. So I went to the course, did a couple jumps in the course. We got done. I would go over to Eloy, get a couple jumps in, and then I would go in the tunnel and fly with the instructor that was actually teaching me in the military school.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because he was flying there. You know, Kevin Duke.
Yeah, Kevin Duke.
Duke.
Shout out to Kevin Duke. That's the Kevin Duke call.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hates it. I used to do that. I'd be like, what up to Kevin Duke? And he'd be like, he's a chill dude.
Yeah.
But I could get a little rise out that. But I love you, Kevin. Right.
Yeah. So then I started, and I was, a goober back then, just didn't know what I didn't know. And I was like, I want to do this thing. I want to get good at it, So I just started throwing cash at it, flying in the tunnel as much as I possibly could, as much as I could afford in time. And, then it was just kind of on and up from there. And
So then you get out of the military. How many jumps do you have when you get out of the military, do you think?
probably around 500 or 600.
Dang. You racked them up while you were in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many of them were military jumps, though? Like 50?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
Not a ton. Yeah, I was never on like a free fall specific team, so
Sure.
we would do a couple currency jumps a year, and that was about it.
Right. And then, what year did I hire you?
2018.
2018. Damn, we're 2024 right now.
Yep.
Dang, that's crazy. Dang, we'd be a kind of old dog. We'd be, you know what I mean? Our friendship's kind of like a dog in its midlife.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's nuts.
Not as fast as he used to be, or just...
Yeah, arthritis in the hips and shit. You started this machine called Human Aerodynamics.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've been most impressed with your approach to it, because you dump a ton, all of your money.
All of it.
All of your money goes right back into what you're doing. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, that's what you got to do.
It's what you got to do, and there's other options for that. As far as like doing things in the industry to earn rather than spend, but I still love it, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I love to do, and yeah. And the more I learn, the more I go to camps and get coaching, the better coach I become, and I feel like all of that money that I invest on the front end, it just allows me to have a better product on the back end for the people that are going to pay me, and then you just pay it forward.
Even your online presence, like your shit looks sharp, son.
Thanks, man.
Like, it looks good. Like
Thanks.
your videos that you're putting out every once in a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Not to call a dude out, but are we doing the thing or are we not doing the thing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we got this podcast studio set up here at iFly Virginia Beach. We got all the top dollar stuff going on here. Yeah, hopefully I can make that grow a little bit. But you have a very strong why, I feel.
Yeah.
And I think everybody who's coaching out there, for the most part, feels that they didn't learn the best that they could have learned.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had this conversation where I'm like, you're not the same dude now that you were when that poor bastard was trying to teach you how to backfly.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you're like, man, I wish he would have just said X, Y, Z, whatever. But your big thing is like helping people understand goals. Is that accurate?
For sure. Yeah.
And like having a purpose. Why are we doing this? Why do you want to learn how to do a layout?
Yeah.
I think I've
Yeah.
heard you ask that question. Like, why do you want to learn a layout?
Yeah.
Like, where is it going to?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
does it have, you say that, yeah? Like,
Yeah.
where's it going?
Yep.
Like, you just want to do a layout to do a layout? Yeah. If it's not going to something, it's not linking
Yeah.
something, then what is it?
And are there other pieces that are more important that you're going to use way more often?
Right.
Right.
Why are you doing this to begin? Do you want to be a good tunnel flyer? Do you want to be a good skydiver?
Yep.
Because you don't need to be both. You
Yep.
could totally be skydive focused and use the tunnel minimally to improve your skydiving,
Yeah, for sure.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Which is a less traditional path.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're turning the wind speed down a little bit. You currently are doing a movement camp in a wind tunnel,
Yeah.
which is funny.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
and some of those drills are goofy, right? But
Oh, yeah.
I could totally see the benefit of them, like
Yeah.
flipping from this to this at the angle, trying to maintain that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that like gives you the better sensation of tracking than a carve necessarily does,
Right.
because with a carve you have that centrifugal force.
right.
And so, that's why there's memes out there. Actually, I saw one the other day that made me laugh. This is dog on a swing set with his front and back legs on two different swings, and they're kind of like offset. And it's like tunnel instructors on their first belly angle.
That's funny.
Right, because when you're out face carving, there's that force of you moving that's helping you stay connected to the wind. But when you have to use your dive to stay connected to the wind,
How much pressure do you think how much wedge do you think we're building against the wall?
I think it's significant.
It would have to be, right?
It has to be, and maybe it's more of a perspective thing, like when you're in the sky and you do a stall or you transition and it takes time to you're still closing on whatever it was you were approaching, even if you're in an angle trying to go totally the opposite way. I mean, that would be interesting to get some actual data on.
Right.
But I really do think it's significant. As you get closer to that wall, the squeezing of the airflow in between your body and the wall, I think it has a substantial effect. Because also physics-wise, right, if you're doing a stall and you're vertical, the point you're pivoting around, whether it's your head or your feet, is kind of like the fulcrum.
Right.
So the furthest thing away from that fulcrum is actually going to have the easiest time rotating it. Sometimes I think I've shown you that little exercise I do with the broomstick.
Yep.
Yeah, where I tell somebody to hold the broomstick as tight as they can. I put my hands on the inside. I try to turn it. I can't turn it, but then I have them hold it tight, and I use my pinkies on the, and you get that leverage, and it's like, the strongest dude with his hands pinched together, you can do pinkies and rotate that broomstick. They will not be able to resist you. So I think that when our toes, even though they're small little pieces of surface area, are that far away from the head,
They're powerful.
they're powerful. Yeah.
That far away from the center.
Yeah, from the pivot point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fulcrum.
Yep.
I guess at that point the fulcrum's the head. So yes, the head. Yeah. I was trying to get him, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to find an argument with him. So what's your philosophy on all this? To crack it open.
To crack it open, I mean, as far as like getting into skydiving, getting good at this sport, pursuing something that you're interested in, you mentioned already, go back to the goals. Setting the goals. I'm a nerd, so I have lists of like spreadsheets, breakdowns of each different competitive and recreational discipline of skydiving and what you do most often. Right?
Are you looking for common?
Common, yeah. So like across disciplines, but also like if I had a student that was like, okay, let's do 10 hours. It's like, where should I put those 10 hours? Why not be scientific about it and be like, hey, you're going to spend the majority of your time doing this. So let's make this really strong. And then the other pieces we'll bring along with it, but we're gonna focus on the bedrock that's gonna allow you to actually go on these skydives.
Right.
And then we'll work on the fluff, the extra stuff, the stuff that's going to be at the next level. I mean, the competitive dynamic dive pool for 2A advanced is head down in face, head up in face, and back layouts. Like that's pretty much it.
For skydiving.
For tunnel, yeah, for competitive dynamic.
Yeah.
It's like there's a touch of head up on the belly.
Is there any dynamic stuff going on in the sky? I'm so out of touch.
I mean, freestyle and free fly are like the competitive dynamic disciplines that are mainly rooted in dynamic flying now, but then angle flying is becoming huge, and that's the recreational discipline of, group dynamic flying in the sky. And that's how we kind of like put it into practice.
Yeah. Yeah, if I come back to skydiving, I think I'm spending all my time chilling at angle stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause you gotta go. You're
Yeah,
stuck
it's fun,
in a 14-foot room your whole life.
Yeah, move, go
Gotta
fast. Yeah.
What's beyond that 14? It's funny, I start and I get 14 feet and then my body just starts falling straight.
Yeah.
Ah, shit. Now what? I never learned this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I heard a good quote the other day. I don't know if it was Rafa or who, but it was, if your coach isn't getting coaching, get a new coach. Like, if your coach isn't being coached, was it him? Did he post something like that?
Maybe, I don't know. I didn't hear that.
It was an
one,
interesting quote. I thought about it. I was like, if your coach isn't learning something new, it doesn't have to be about like flying, but like if your coach isn't also being taught, like, because I feel like you're always learning something. You always got something going on.
Yeah.
You had a pretty dope guitar lesson, yeah? With a legend?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, my current favorite guitarist from Buried Alive. Not Bury like with a shovel,
Right.
but bury like a strawberry.
Okay.
Buried, Berried, Buried Alive. He's like Tom Morello of the, more extreme like metal side of the house. But he uses a lot of cool effects and different techniques.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I love about the guy is he's so musical.
Pull his ass up. Yeah, let me see a clip of this dude.
Buried Alive.
Hell yeah. How's he making that? Does he have an effect on it right now?
Yeah, that's loosely distortion.
Just like how did he do that?
Well, yeah, the stuff this guy does on the guitar, you think it like sounds like a crazy video game like synthesizer.
Right. This shit made me want to go play Zelda Breath of the Wild. You get down like that?
No.
I've heard you rip.
Yeah, I rip a little bit.
Quick, yeah.
Yeah, not at that level, but I mean that's a great example. Like I just reached out to that dude, and I bought his book and read it, and it's like, oh yeah, I do online lessons. I'm like, sold. Hit him up.
Like, sign me up.
Yep.
How many lessons did you do with them? One?
Just one so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a good first session, and
It was cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
really cool.
How long was the session?
We did an hour plus. I think we went over a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's an interesting concept, the online stuff, right? Like I feel when I first heard about people coaching, tunnel coaching, or even sky coaching from like remote, like as far as for understanding, for teaching, like understanding, I feel like you could show me just about anybody flying.
Mm-hmm.
And if they weren't using a really good technique, like if, let's say they had poor technique,
Yeah.
I could instantly help them. Like I feel that. Help them understand it.
Yeah.
Maybe not help them in the actual application, because I can't make their body do what,
Yep.
a little influence. When you can put your hands on somebody, you can influence them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, the journey has to be them making the decision to apply the force in this way or move their body in that way,
Yeah.
or a combination of the both. But you need to have feeling. You need to have a pilot on board. And so I think there's a great benefit to the online stuff as well,
Yeah.
And when COVID hit, people were, I've had people reach out to me like, hey man, can you help me with these flip twists? And I could instantly see what they could improve. Like, it
Yep.
feels like, yeah. Have you done much of that?
A small amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's big in that right now?
Rafa's got the Art of Flying Members Club. That's gotten pretty popular. And I've reached out to, done a little bit with Mark Christensen and some other folks, Tex, Jake and Jason from Ascend. Like, that's the one nice thing about online coaching is it makes the world so small.
Yeah, it really does.
And granted, in the initial learning process, if
Time zones are a bitch, though.
that is true. Yeah.
Lining up with,
Yeah.
it's either early morning for them or it's 2 in the morning.
Late.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's good though. It helps really not get stuck on something, because there's things that Sam and I have trained freestyle in the sky where
Sam Gildersleeve, the coolest girlfriend ever,
and teammate,
and teammate.
but you got to use that order.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do the opposite and, hey, this is my teammate, girlfriend, and
I could see if you were all right, so let's break that down. I could see if you were introducing her to like a dude, and you're like, hey, this is my teammate, and she's also my girlfriend. Or if it was like a smoke show that you're standing next to a smoke, you're like talking to the smoke show, and then you're like looking, you're like, oh, this is Sam Gildersleeve. This is Sam. This is my teammate. She'd be like, what? No, I'm his girlfriend. Thank you.
yeah. Sleeping in the doghouse that night.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
You got a proper order. Yeah, so with the freestyle stuff, we've trained moves where we had a vision, thought it would be cool, thought the visual would be cool, and we did it and, spent 30, 40 jumps trying to work out this thing that ultimately it turned out was really hard, and when it was done well, it didn't actually look that cool.
Right.
You're not going to score that well off of it.
Right.
You can explain to the judges why something is hard, but the point is to bring them into the skydive,
Right.
to make them feel like they're on the jump and interacting.
And let's face it, if you're having to explain to somebody why something's funny, it's never going to be funny.
Yeah.
Even after they understand why it's funny, if it was funny, they would have laughed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
If it was difficult, it's like, is it difficult? I don't know because I don't do it. But it doesn't look cool, and it doesn't inspire me to go do it.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So you reach out to people that are in that arena and have a lot more experience, that have trained that, because, with flying, there's not that many new ideas out there. We use, just like music, we use things in creative ways to make new sequences or a new visual perspective, seeing something.
But even the new has been done.
Right. Or it's been tried,
Right.
and someone can at least tell you, like, hey, yeah, it's a cool idea. We tried it back in this season, and you have to set it up this way. And at least you get a good stepping off point, or like, oh, okay, I didn't even think about that. If we don't set it up with this person here and this person there, that person's not going to have enough power to do their move. So you can go into something with a bad setup and just fail over and over and over. And if you don't address the setup, it doesn't matter how good you are at doing the actual move, it's still going to be trash. If you're a race car driver and you're constantly going into a corner too hot or, too slow and wondering why you can't hold a good line, it's like, make the setup more consistent, come into it well, and it'll fly itself.
Nice. Well, shit, Mike. You ready any good books or podcasts or movies or anything of value?
Podcasts, we were on Sword and Scale.
What did you say?
Sword and Scale.
Sword and Scale?
Yeah, it's a true crime deal. And the guy that runs the podcast, super engaging, and Sam's really into true crime, so that's what we listen to on road trips.
Mm-hmm.
And they're usually not super long, hour and change.
Entertaining?
And, yeah, really, really engaging. And
Nice.
on that same line, we're watching Mindhunter right now.
Mindhunter. Yeah,
Yeah.
those also along that same.
Yeah, so that's the mini series on Netflix about the birth of the behavioral science unit in the FBI, like the birth of criminal profiling when they started interviewing mass murderers and violent criminals, finding out what's going on in their heads.
Right.
Really interesting. I thought they did a really cool job with the series.
Dope.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's entertaining. I like that. Hey, I got 2 more questions for you, and then we'll wrap this shit up. In your opinion, who's the baddest, the baddest flyer right now?
I mean, I think
It's a fucked up question, but
it's hard to say. Yeah.
Because I'm saying right now, like if I had to put my money on somebody,
I think the person that is charging the hardest right now, that wants it more than anybody, is James Rodgers.
I'd agree as far as who wants it more right now. Like, and who's charging. That boy's charging.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say my vote, the dude that excites me, the person that excites me the most right now, you already know what I'm going to say.
I already know, yeah.
I fuck up his last name every time I say it. But
there's an S in there and somewhere.
Tom Ivins, dog.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
I think it's Tom's.
Tom's. Damn, goddamn. Tom's Ivins. Tom's Ivins? Is that his last name?
I think so.
Because that boy, dude, we come from similar, like he comes from that rhodium life and I came from the flyaway, which was like the original rhodium type thing.
Right.
You know? So it's like a column of wind. Like we come from just like a column of wind, dirty wind. Like, get it. Let's get on this wind. And now their columns of wind are nice. Like, I heard nothing but great things about that tunnel that everybody was competing in.
Mm-hmm.
But when Tom's would go to compete, when he get up there, like he what place did he end up? 3rd? 4th?
I think so.
10th? Who knows? You know what I mean? I was blown away that he was so low. And now, I'm not judging it. I'm just looking at I'm judging it for all the wrong reasons, right? I'm looking at a couple things. One, did it make my ass want to go and fly? And the answer is yeah, you know? And then, why does every single person in that building have their phone out? Other people are in there flying, not to take away from what the other people are doing, but like, it's like business as usual. Then that dude comes out and everybody's got their phone out, like, ready to shoot, like, because they know something crazy is probably about to happen. You know? The boy rips.
Yeah.
But he did his routine 100%. And then his ass comes, when I found out it was 100%, in one part of his routine, he runs down the wall. It's like, when I run down the wall of a wind tunnel, like, if it's at 100%, and I think that tunnel's faster than what we got, I want to turn up our tunnel 100%, try to run down the wall. Maybe I'll put that in here. Maybe I won't. But, like, I kind of feel like I'm going to get, like, you have to get really vertical on the wall. But then it's like, then still have the illusion that you're running down the wall.
Yeah.
Like, still be able to make that step, which is advanced. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Which kind of makes this one to flatten out a little bit. It's like, just underneath the top of the glass, feels like a brick wall wanting this. Have you ever tried it? You ever try running down the wall?
Not at really high speeds.
Well, it would be funny as shit for you and me to go in there and just top it out and see if we can just perform that simple trick of running down the wall, which seems ridiculous.
Yep.
But man, for difficulty, I looked at that and I was like, holy crap. Anyway, so yeah, James for sure for drive. Last question. You heard a Tic Tac video, the Tic Tac alien or not alien, the UAP.
Yeah.
The UFOs and UAPs that are being seen, these orbs that are being seen around at least the shores of the United States.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're being seen other places, but what's your take on this, Michael?
It was me.
I knew it. I knew it. Those Marines, boy. Like,
Yeah,
do you think they're? Do you think they're extraterrestrial, or do you think it's some technology that we have? Or do you think maybe it's a combination of reverse shit?
Aliens?
Yeah.
I
that your point?
mean, so the way I look at it is, if you were gonna go explore a foreign planet,
Mm-hmm.
you would probably want to do it as stealthily as possible.
Yeah. Like we're already doing that on Mars, right? We didn't show up to Mars. We have shit going to Mars and
Yeah,
kind of checking it out.
check it out, see what's going on. You know? Yeah, I mean, could be. The
Yeah.
universe is a massive place, infinite. It's still growing, right?
Apparently.
I'm not an astrophysicist.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that. Yeah, maybe I'll interview Boo Thompson because I love getting him riled up. I like because I think that there's black holes, obviously. Like that isn't up to me to like. But my argument is that the people that talk about it, like they're experts. It's like the Sasquatch experts, you know?
Yeah.
Like they have like, oh, Sasquatches love blueberries. It's like, you know nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you literally know nothing. Like,
Yeah.
like, come on. Like, yeah. Talking to pilot friends, and this ain't bullshit. I can't, you know who they are. We could talk about it offline. But a couple F-18 pilots say that they see, they say that the things are being seen 25 miles off this shore every day. Every day. Unexplainable shit's being seen off the shore. And then my buddy who lives in California said that every day they see stuff off the shore while he's flying that plane. And it's like, dude, every day? And then the one buddy that I recently talked to, he, I guess maybe he was down in Florida flying a bunch. And he said that, yeah, he witnessed it himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks that there probably are drones. And I was like, really? And he was like, think about it. Like, how long was the stealth fighter and bomber like already developed before they even disclosed it to?
Yeah.
So then I got on and looked up what's the fastest drone. It's like 243 miles per hour or something, which isn't fast enough.
No. Mach
But that's
0.3.
civilian. That's some shit a civilian made with like Radio Shack parts, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Or it could be some interdimensional stuff, some wormholes. But yeah, I'm kind of erring on, if it's not our technology, and I hope it is. I hope it ain't other people's technology, right?
Yeah.
But if it's not our technology, I kind of err on the, I think it is probably what you think. Where like aliens are probing, sending down some, like, do those look like tasty morsels down there?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
imagine that. That'd be a crying shame. Michael Sopko, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ray.
I appreciate you, bro.
it, man.
Do you have anything that you want to promote that's coming up?
So
You got events and stuff, yeah?
Yep. So I'm working with XPSN during their angle camps down at Paraclete XP, and then Sam and I have recently started these two-way camps. So they're dynamic two-way skydiving camps where it's not us leading you, It's you show up with a friend and we teach you how to do a freestyle oriented jump with angles, eagles, and carves for your skill level, and safe, smart ways to then start scaling that up. So
each participant take a role as a lead
Yeah,
or a
you-
follow.
Yep.
So you learn how to be a good follower. You learn how to be a good leader.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I think you learn a lot, even at a basic level on the belly, just kind of doing these carves and vertical orbits that you can then take into, transitioning through vertical and being on your head and just flying close to people, just getting in proximity, and moving together like a group. Yeah, I think it totally scales up.
Do you have dates for that?
So the first one is June 1st and 2nd at Orange, and that one's already full. And then I have one planned for July, possibly August. July will probably be out at Scott at Suffolk or down at Paraclete. And those,
Oh, I'm sorry. Those two-way, sorry, not to back up. The two-way camps that you're talking about, those are sky stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
it's in
wow,
the sky.
cool.
Yep.
For some reason, I thought it was tunnel stuff because you got tunnel stuff coming up too.
Yeah, we've got some tunnel camps coming up, some late night camps. We got an awesome rate going on right now, so we're kind of flying later into the evenings. And then I've got free flow workshops that I'm doing as well, kind of teaching people how to lead and follow in the tunnel, and then the two-way camps in the sky.
Do you do any workshops where maybe there's no tunnel, there's no flying involved?
I've done some like seminars and talks. Sometimes I do them online with like my coaching group on Facebook. If anybody's interested in that, let me know.
What's
Yeah.
your socials for that?
So it's just mine is Mike Sopgo, and you can find me and just message and ask to be added to the group. And I post my events, tunnel camps in there, and then the online sessions whenever we get together, usually once a week, and just chat through some flying stuff, training concepts, and
Cool. I'll post. I'll grab your socials from you. And we can. I'll put it up at the end of this.
cool.
So just kind of flash it up there, and any dates that are of importance.
Yeah.
So you're a busy man. You got
Trying
shit
to be.
going on. Yeah. You've been here early today.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Get out of here then, homie.
All right. Take it easy.
I
Brad.
appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Episode 1 in the. Put that in the.